may come with a system, but he, William Samoei Ruto, together with his people, he is with the people and with God. Now, how did this thing start? This thing started with the shocking pronouncement, once again, from David Murathe, the Jubilee Vice Chair, who shocked the country by stating clearly that the country should prepare for a Raila Odinga presidency. This pronouncement from Murathe was as shocking as the one he made on the 26th of December, 2018, in a function at Mbale, Vihiga County, where he said, this kumi yangu, kumi ya William was a big joke. That the Mount Kenya people had no debt to pay the Kalenjin community or William Ruto. That if Uhuru made any promise, then he did so as an individual, and that the Mount Kenya people owe nobody no debt. That was shocking. So when last week he came up with this pronouncement that Raila Odinga was going to be the president in 2022, it is not surprising that Ruto came out to say that he's not scared. He has the people and God. Now, it gets more interesting. The following day, Francis Atwoli, the combative Secretary General of KOTU, the Trade Workers Union, came to support and strongly in support, or in his own words, to second what Murathe had said about Raila. And he went on to say that Raila had the qualities, and there were big reasons why Raila should be supported. Now, talking of Atwoli and Ruto, Atwoli definitely has been among the people who have been on the forefront, among the big fish who have been saying that Ruto should not be president in 2022. Now, when Ruto says he has the people and God, I'm reminded that Francis Atwoli has been telling us, and indeed it appears in his book, that he's a very, very prayerful Christian. He's a staunch, prayerful Catholic, that is always with the rosary, that he prays hard before he sleeps. From the book we learn that Atwoli wakes up at 3 to pray. And what more evidence could you look for that Atwoli is a prayerful man than the scars on his knees, the black marks on his knees, showing he goes down on his knees many times. I was also wondering, and I tweeted about it when my friend Dennis talked about it, that God, I just was wondering, at what point did God belong only to the Tanga people? At what point did they hold God? I thought God belongs to all of us. Anyway, that aside. So it got very, very tricky the moment Murathe and Atwoli came out to say Raila was going to be the president. Now, I would understand Ruto's reaction. Ruto is part of government. And 2022, like I have said in other forums, in my considered opinion, 2022 will be a concessional democracy moment. In a crude way, the decisions about who will be in power, or the group of men and women who will be in power in 2022 and beyond, will be made in a boardroom, in guided democracy kind of way. So Ruto must be aware of all this. And he got even more worried when Raila Odinga came up and said, now, this government is led by Uhuru Kenyatta. The deputy president of this country is one William Samoei Ruto. And in the words of Raila Molo Odinga, who could be more deep state than William Ruto? What Raila Odinga was saying is that Ruto should know, if anything, he has been a beneficiary of the deep state. If indeed there exists a deep state, and this morning we must debunk the myth of a deep state, if it is a myth. What there is in many countries, if not on all countries, including the Vatican, that there are always interests in who becomes the president, including who becomes the pope. There will be always pressure groups. There will be always interest groups. In America, for example, even the Democratic Party has denied Bernie Sanders twice the nomination of the party, because the establishment, the Democratic Party establishment, would not have supported a person who is a self-declared socialist. It will do them a lot of harm. So the establishment decides Bernie Sanders can't get it. They give to Hillary Clinton. And now they have given to Joe Biden. In America, they talk of Washington. Washington are the major players in American politics. Wall Street, the money people. American politics is controlled by serious lobby groups. In Kenya, the closest we have heard about the deep state was the Kiambu Mafia during the Kenyatta reign. These are people who wield informal power, sometimes and many times outside parliament, outside government. In other countries, they will be found in the military. We are lucky our military is so professional. In other countries like America, they are strongly found within the intelligence community. In this country, I suspect if there is a deep state, it is mainly of tribal leaders out to ensure that their tribe is permanently in control. In Kenya, if there is a deep state, it will be composed of people who have business interests, who fear that if so-and-so became president, then he will dismantle our financial empires. So I am aware Ruto must be aware of all this. He must be aware that there will be people in this country wielding a lot of power who fear him as a person. That can we trust one William Samoei Ruto? Can this chap be at State House and we sleep pretty, knowing that our property is safe? They could be wrong. Ruto could be wrong also. He could be right. Because the deep state thing is so fluid. It's not anything you can put your hand on and say, now this is the deep state. And therefore, those who may want to know how politics is played, I would only tell them one thing, that in every country, there will be always people who will make sure that things go the way they want. That government policies are put in place only if those policies play into their interests. They will make sure that when elections are being held, only men and women who protect their interests will have a chance. And that's sometimes why I look at young politicians and the story of the Senate in the past 2 weeks or so helps me to say what I want to say. That when you are a young politician, like the politicians in Senate, the Malalas, the Kipchumba Murkomens, and the others who are calling themselves One Kenya, they must go down and look at how politics is played. They must understand that there will be always men and women sitting in some corner and making sure what they want happens. I am almost certain, unfortunately for my young men, I'm almost certain, somehow, directly or indirectly, when the chips go down, when the dust settles, when the deal is done, Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta will have their way about this revenue thing. Take it to the bank. That is the deep state, if you want to know. That there will be people either in government, outside government, in leadership, outside leadership. You can give them a name you want to give them. But at the end of the day, they hold a lot of sway. And when you see what is happening in parties like Ford Kenya, it is within that larger context of the major players who will want things to go the way they want. If 2022 is going to be negotiated democracy, if 2022 will be decided somewhere, and you are coming up with your small party ANC, they will show you. That's why when Barack Muluka leaves, Owalo leaves, you must understand this thing within the wider context of the national politics, of putting the chips together, of ensuring that things fall in place. So if you are slipping through this period, if you are not seeing, or if you are seeing like William Ruto, the games are being played, but you think you can stand in the way, I want to assure you, my friend, this is a big train. Wacha hii matrain wa China wanatudanganya hii ya 1901. Serious trains. They will crush you. And this is how politics is played in the whole world. We don't need to support it. I'm a Democrat. I do not support games. I would want people to decide how politics is played. But unfortunately, there are always groups, you may call them the deep state, who at the end of the day will have a say. Sometimes they fail. Many times they succeed. Trump outsmarted them in America. They were shocked that he was in the White House. Many times they succeed. But as I conclude, I only say two things. One, that we pray for peace. Two, that whichever way we go, that the country remains together, and that those players who have a role to play in making this country remain one nation, moving to prosperity, play their role knowing that the future of their children will be determined by the decisions they make today.